Good afternoon, welcome back to the Celtic Way. We're here to chat about Celtic's 2-0 win over Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership at Pittodrie. Comfortable win in the end. We'll chat through the goals from Benjamin Nygren, Rio Tate, all the talking points from the match with Tony Haggerty, who's just been in to see Brendan Rodgers. Now, the live chat's been waiting for you for a little bit, Tony, and they were worried that you'd been detained for asking the wrong questions, but you're all good, aren't you?
All good, John, yeah, all present correct. I think that's what's called a satisfactory day at the office, isn't it? Two brilliant goals from our midfielders, and what we spoke about at the top of the programme, Benjamin Nygren coming rushing into the box. He delivered. Tremendous. I love it when a plan comes together. And yeah, the manager was delighted. He thought the team was excellent. He thought they had good control of the whole game, John. But no. When you go.
Yeah, no, and they did have good control of the game. I thought, I think Aberdeen came at the blocks quite hard, as we expected. The first 5 or 10 minutes kind of had a go at Celtic. But after that, I felt like Celtic really throttled them and just pinned them in, basically. And as you said, I think the good word to use there is control. I don't want to gloat too much, Tony, but we did talk about Benjamin Nygren before the match, and we did talk about his ability to kind of ghost into that box and crash the box, as it were. And he did exactly that for the opening goal. Fantastic finish, fantastic from Kieran Tierney, and there's been a lot of complaints, a lot of moaning about transfers needing more quality in the team. For me, that goal combination just shows that if you do add the quality to Celtic's team, they can make a direct difference with some excellent football. A fantastic opening goal from Nygren.
John, that class stamped all over it. I'll get overlooked because of Nygren's run into the box and his excellent finish, but see Kieran Tierney's cutback, you can't defend that. See if somebody's running onto that and they make the right connection, and Nygren did. And honestly, I was going to phone you during the game after that goal. Then I realised, come on now, get your head in the group. But I was just so chuffed because it was exactly what we had said, what we'd spoken about. And I mean, Kieran Tierney's cross for me, it's just that wee ding, just knowing with that awareness, knowing where somebody is. And Nygren timing that late run into the box to perfection, ghosting in, nobody near him, and that half volley finish, John, really difficult to execute. Made it look really simple, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and I think that's what he's here for. Some people might not know, but Benjamin Nygren actually started his career as a striker. As a centre forward, he started his career. And, it was said to me that kind of finishing ability and that instinct is still in his game to an extent. Now, I'm not suggesting that he's going to be versatile enough to be a centre forward for Celtic. I'm just noting that his instincts coming through youth football and in the early stages of career are to get into that box and finish off chances. So I think he can be that goal scorer midfielder that Celtic need this season. Arne Engels did score goals last season. The majority of them, though, did come from the penalty box. So we need a player to start getting in those positions, especially if you've got someone like Tierney having that direct power to surge past an opponent and deliver a ball of that quality. Then you need players there to finish off those opportunities.
Johnny took that last striker, head down over the ball, connect, low and hard.
Yeah. Direction
and power. Keeper's not going to save it.
Yeah.
So that's what really pleased me, because it was a really difficult chance, but he made it. He made it look as if it was, as I say, the run makes it, and he's created the space for himself. The ball's excellent. The ball's on the money, and Germanzi supplies the finish. But over, half volley, difficult to control, and somebody closing in as well. The temptations to blast it and maybe cannons off them, but he knew exactly where he was putting it, and terrific. Really pleased me. It was two goals were the highlights of my day, John, because two of them were quite special. So I've said if there's a better goal of the month for August, then it's going to be something special to beat that. Tatis, that was a cracker.
Yeah, so Celtic were 1-0 up at half time and cruising to an extent, and then in the second half just consolidated that. Benjamin Nygren again involved in the second goal, feeding in a nice little slick pass into Rio Tate's feet after combining with James Forrest, and Rio Tate scores. We might not see many better goals than that this season, Tony. Edge of the box, curled into the top corner, in off the bar. It's the kind of goal that everyone loves to see. I love an in off the bar, Tony. There's none better than that.
It's the technique again involved, John. That curl on it, and what he's doing is he's putting it away from the goalkeeper's grasp. That's what he's doing, putting it right into the postage stamp, or as high as it can go, knowing that if it goes on target, it's got a fair chance of going in. And there's few players that can execute that, but Rio Hatate can. And, you can argue the toss, John. He's still the best number 8 in the country for me, by a fair distance. And he looks bang in the mood this season, doesn't he? He played okay last week. I thought he was very good today, but he's still got that in his locker, that real bit of quality. And that's that real bit of quality that gives you that breathing space, John, just to see the game out. And Celtic will get better. Players like Hatate will get better. Benjamin Nygren. And I know it's that wee shunt, John. It's a clever shunt. Sees him in space. And a lot of guys might have been tempted to float it into the area and see if you can feed off a second ball or even get a head on it. But his vision has caught Hatate on his own and he stopped right. I'll give you that wee shunt and see what you can do with it. And Hatate's been just a cracker. And so that was really pleasing. I smiled Riley, John, with the 2 goals. And no celebrating with that kind of smug contentment. You think, right, these guys are... that's it, the game over. And you said it there, Aberdeen came out the traps really quickly, but they put in a few. I mentioned in the kind of analysis, the Reds did go steaming in for about 10 minutes, didn't they? There was a lot of kind of, not want to say late or wild challenges, but there was a lot of wee niggly fouls on Celtic players. But after that, I just felt that they offered nothing much in terms of creative force in the final third or chance-wise. So they had that initial 10 minutes where they tried to hustle and harry Celtic off their stride. But once Celtic got to grips with that, they bossed the game, John. They were in control, for large spells.
I think, although there was control in the game, I think you would also see, you can tell that Celtic are a kind of still a work in progress, obviously. They certainly are. I don't think anyone's suggesting that today was a really complete performance, that Celtic are at the top of their game, but they probably didn't need to be, because I thought Aberdeen were pretty poor after the opening initial period, and obviously certain players are working their way into the team. Nygren, for his very positive contribution, you can tell he's still getting up to speed with the way Celtic work and all the combinations with his teammates as well. So it bodes well that there's obviously still a lot more to come from this team.
Without a doubt, John. And if the noise in the background is, they're very slick up here. They're cutting the grass already, as you can probably hear. But there's a lot more to come from the team, John. The manager also said that, but also you can't get away from the fact that it is the kind of green and white elephant in the room, isn't it? That Celtic still need an influx of quality players, don't they?
Yeah, in the attacking areas, I think you can tell, because I thought the defence showed up well today. I thought the midfield showed up well today, and then that attacking area, James Forrest aside, I thought James Forrest was lively enough. I don't think Daisemeda's quite hit his top form yet, and obviously Adama has question marks around him. So you're right. I think that an influx of quality in that attacking area is very much needed.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the area that Celtic are desperate to address. Whether or not it will be done before the August the 14th deadline, John, I think Celtic are allowed to bring in 2 players, aren't they, for the Champions League squad, for the qualifier? Yeah.
Until the day before, yeah.
So Brendan Rodgers wasn't so sure, but he's certainly hopeful that they can bring it in before the end of the window. And he's still, because I asked him about Adama and I asked him if he felt for him, the mood music surrounding him. And he did say he did, but he was working hard. But he said Adama needs that competition, because he was at his best when he was vying with Kyogo for that position. When he scored the goals during the loan spell.
So is that his answer on Tony? Like, Adama needs pushed from another striker, and that's what he's needing.
Yep.
I guess, did he defend Adama again? He was very defensive of him last week. Did he defend him again today?
He defended him again and said he was working hard for the team, and that's what he said. But he needs that push. He needs that competition to get the best out of him, to gee him up, and so that's what Celtic are working on. But yeah, because as I say, it's the Celtic supporters. It's the main concern, isn't it, in the team at the minute? The attacking area. You can't shy away from that or duck that or run away from it, and the manager's well aware of it too.
So we don't quite have Brendan Rodgers' audio at the moment on this video, but it is getting transcribed and being put on the website as we speak, and then the audio will be on the YouTube channel later, so we will have full coverage of Brendan Rodgers as it comes. We just like to speak to Tony as soon as he comes at the press conferences, in case there is any breaking news. I don't suppose there's any major news from I saw Brendan Rodgers on Sky. He was kind of saying there's no update on transfers, etc, etc. It's very much the same as at the moment. Nothing burning from Brendan Rodgers.
No, but he let us into the fact that Kieran Tierney was sick at half time.
Okay.
and he threw up. And but
Interesting.
he gave him 15 minutes. He reckoned it might have been something he drank or something he ate or something. Maybe
Yeah.
he wasn't sure, but a bug of sorts. So that explained his absence after an hour. But he said that was why he was withdrawn from the field because he was sick at half time.
So I'm gonna meet you for a moment, Tony. The wind's breaking into your microphone. So what I'm gonna do, while hopefully that dissipates a little bit, is bring in some of the viewer comments, because there's been quite a lot today. We do enjoy all the live viewers, so I'm gonna work through some of these. Colin Sweeney says, brilliant for Nygren to get his first, and what a screamer from Rayo. That would have took your head off. It would have. It nearly took the keeper's head off. William O'Toole saying, hail, hail. I thought 2-1 before the game. That was before it became clear Aberdeen had absolutely nothing going forward. A great job done on them by the Hoops. Tam PT was at Pittodrie with Tony, saying afternoon all from Aberdeen on the way home. Have to say, don't think we were particularly awesome, but we were solid enough, and 2 great goals, some minutes for Shin Yamada, and 3 points on the board. A pleasant day. And Hazel saying, Archie McPherson on Sports Scene, Celtic win, and the Celtic way reaction. She's a happy girl this weekend, so we appreciate that, Hazel. Tony, just on Shin Yamada, I don't want to go too deep in Shin Yamada because it's his very first competitive appearance for Celtic, and in that context I don't like making too many firm judgments, but initial impressions are that he's going to have a wee bit to go to just work up to the speed of the way this Celtic team works.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think the manager was delighted to get him minutes on the park. That was what he wanted to see him in competitive action. I think he's a guy that can run the channels and he's got a bit of strength there. But yeah, it was good to see him on the park. But I think, as you say, there's a bit to go before he becomes a kind of regular starter or a regular fixture in the team. But I'm glad he got some minutes. He now knows that's one of your more difficult away venues. So we're getting used to the hustle and bustle of Scottish football. And again, doesn't matter how early in the season it comes, John, to come to a place like Pittodrie and win and keep a clean sheet, you've got to accentuate the positives. We all know that the team, there's positions in the team that need addressed, but you have to accentuate the positives. A wonderful element of control in that match there. I never felt at any time that Aberdeen were going to get into it or come back into it. So I was pleased with that, but I still, well, like everyone else, I sound like a manager. I still think we're about 2 or 3 players short of where we want to be and, the ideal squad.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in some more comments. Francis Lester saying, happy with the result, lads, but don't think we got out of second gear. Ida again, disappointing, as was Maeda. We need strengthen immediately. Yeah, I agree. I think the Maeda thing's interesting because I think, obviously, we know when he gets up to full speed and up to full tilt how effective he can be. I think there might be a bit of a slight clamouring for Maeda to possibly move through the middle for now, just to give Ida a bit of rotation. That might be a way to go against Falkirk on Friday with the game coming around early. Not sure how you feel about that. I'll get your thoughts in a minute, Tony. I just think overall today was a day of control, as I said. Another 3 points. There's been a lot of negativity around the club, a lot of negativity around transfers, so it's good to just have something positive to speak about. And I think Benjamin Nygren's a good focal point in that regard, and move forward positively, Tony. Brendan said all he needs to say on transfers. I don't think he can really say anymore, and that's why there's nothing really new. It's until Celtic get this done, that's when I think the positivity will start ramping up again, because that's, nobody likes criticising the club or criticising people at the club. They just want what's best for Celtic, and as soon as Celtic manage to start delivering that, then everyone will be very happy.
Yeah, I think they've got a busy few weeks coming up, John, haven't they? Maybe even a busy week coming up before that August the 14th, the first Champions League squad deadline. But even if they don't strengthen the side by then, you still feel a bit disappointed, and you would feel there's a wee bit of jeopardy heading into that Champions League doubleheader against Kairat Almaty or Slovan Bratislava. But I think we've got enough to cope. But I don't want to just cope. I don't want it to be a nerve shredder. I want Celtic to have an element of control in both those matches, home and away, in the Champions League qualifier. And ideally, I would like somebody brought in. But if it's not to be, it's not to be. But I think there's enough to be positive about for me, John. I thought today Nygren was, I don't want to say too much, but I'm liking the look at him. There's machines going off all over the place.
Yeah, it's okay. I think we're probably going to wrap up here anyway. That about 15 minutes. We keep the reaction shows kind of short and sharp. and Tony's obviously dealing with all sorts of machinery at Pittodrie. Machinery Seagulls win. It's the full triumvirate there that Tony's dealing with, unfortunately. Listen, we'll be back tomorrow morning. Tony will be back on with Ryan, be able to give a bit more of a measured opinion on today's events at Pittodrie and what Rodgers has said, etc. As I say, Rodgers' comments will be going up on celticway.co.uk very shortly, and then the audio will be going up on the YouTube channel quite shortly too. Just need to turn that round. And we've got the Celtic Way Weekly, the new show with myself and Hamish. That is also back tomorrow at 5 p.m. So there's 2 shows tomorrow. Thank you for joining us live this afternoon. Thanks for joining us in the comments if you're checking us out later. Tony, have a safe trip down the road. You know, enjoy your trip back to home, and we'll see you again in the morning.
Brilliant. Look forward to that. And 3 points in the bag, John. Another 3 points. Can't beat that. That's what it's all about.
Thanks everyone. We'll see you again next time on the Celtic Way.